Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening for those joining me on this evening. You can come on and share. Good evening. Hey, Shonda, blessings to you. Hope you had a good day. Countdown. Glad you guys can join me on this evening. I promise you I will not be before you long. Good evening. I know you are, Shonda. I know. Come on in, you guys. When you come in, please share. If you're tuning in through my personal Facebook, I'm not able to see your comments, but I will go back and review them. But good evening to you. Nevertheless, good evening to you. It's so good to see you guys jump on this evening. I hope you guys had a happy Monday. Hope your Monday was marvelous. I'm going to wait about another 1 or 2 minutes, and then we will begin our conversation. Like I said, I can't see, if you on my personal Facebook, I cannot see the comments with this platform that I'm streaming from, but I can see it on the Renovating Lives page when you're commenting up there. So I thank you guys again for tuning in on this evening. As I said, I know I will not hold you long on this evening. And I'm so thankful that you're able to come and join me for this this meaningful Monday conversation. And I hope you find something meaningful in some things that are being brought before you this evening. I really do. I'm gonna go ahead to a very punctual individual, so I don't want to hold you guys' time in this late in the evening. But for those of you who do not know, or this is your first time joining Meaningful Monday Conversations, my name is Dr. L. Perkins, and I'm typically your host, your facilitator for Meaningful Monday Conversations. However, there was a conflict and some scheduling conflicts for this evening, so I do not have a guest, so I will be the one bringing you the conversations of topic on this evening. And so when I was thinking and seeing what I wanted to bring before you on this evening to just talk about, and it was pressed upon my heart to talk about breaking the cycle. Okay, breaking the cycle. And you know, when you're talking about breaking the cycle, what am I talking about? Listen, we cannot continue to do the same old thing, the same old way. And I'm talking about change. Change is a personal thing. And you know, when I thought about the subtopic of generational curses, that's one of those elephants in the room, because oftentimes people don't want to talk about generational curses because things that have been done that was considered to be normal when you was growing up and when I was growing up, The older, I don't know about you, that I get and I see some of those things that grandma might have done and mama might have done and auntie and uncles may have done, some of those things were not always right. And what happens is we'll continue those same cycles. And for those of you who have children or who are guardians or who are raising children, you know we have to break the cycle somewhere. And even in that constitutes change. We cannot continue to do the same old thing, the same old way, and expect change to occur. But this is the thing. The common denominator of change is our individual selves. It's our individual selves. That is where change starts. Because see, believe it or not, and it's a hard thing sometimes when you think about what, whether it's your personal relationships, whether it's with friends, if you're married, significant others, whatever the case may be, there's so many things that we can point out in other people, how other people, what they need to do and how they need to do. But you guys, some of us have some chains that need to be broken. Some of us have some things that, and deep down, we may not want to face the mirror to see, look at you. You are a hot mess. There are a lot of things in you that you need to dig out. Some individuals are carrying around a lot of baggage from their childhood, baggage from traumatic experiences that they had, and they carry these things on into situationships, into relationships. They push this stuff onto their children. And listen, the children these days, they're going through a lot of stuff. I always say, yeah, you have individuals that are parents, mothers and fathers, or whatever, however you say. But let me tell you something, that title, some individuals cannot bear children on their own. But just because we have a title of a mother or a father does not mean that we are fulfilling those roles. Some of us have mommy issues or daddy issues that we need to break the cycle. You may need to get some help. It's very important. Why? Because you're spewing certain things on your seeds, which are your children or individuals that you may be connected to. And in some cultures, it's a stigma. Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Oh no, that stuff has to be covered up and not exposed. Let me tell you, that cycle, if it's not broken, it will feed on until other individuals. And we wonder why we have so many angry children. Why? Because their mother or their father was angry. Why? Because they dealt with the spirit of rejection. Their mother left them. Their daddy left. Their parents was substance abuse, locked up. They got grandparents raising them or uncles, whatever the case may be. The mama was so in tune more with the man that she did not take care or love the child. The father was a deadbeat, didn't want to take care of the child. The husband was an abuser or the boyfriend was an abuser. So the woman stayed there. So when the child grew older, that situation looked to be normal. Why? Because the mother stayed there. Why? Because the father stayed there. So therefore, it looked like it was normal. Because if mama and daddy stayed in the situation, then that's normal. Who is that person over there to say it was abnormal? And mama did it. Mama stayed in the situation. No, we have to break those cycles. And I say this, and sometimes people don't, words are powerful, but actions speak louder than words. You can tell a person that you love them, but if those actions do not line up with what you're saying you love them, but you talking down, you fussing them out, you're demeaning them, you putting your hands on what, that is not love. But guess what? The reason why that individual think doing all of that is love, because them growing up, that's all that they saw. So it was thought to be like that was okay. And it transferred in life, getting older, that traumatic experience that some people like to suppress. We can pray all day long about certain things, but let me tell you something. You got to put actions to a lot of these things. You have to seek help. You have to understand that you may have an issue that you have to deal with. Depression just doesn't happen just all of a sudden. You have people that their thoughts are a lot of times lean on negativity, or their families, they're in their genetics. Mama was dealing with suicidal ideations, and she was bipolar. She had this, that, and the other. You understand what I'm saying? It goes deep. It goes deep than what some of us may even imagine, but you have to be willing to break the cycle. And that's a lot of what I'm not seeing. We can get on social media. Social media can be used as a powerful tool. However, there are some individuals who use it for mess. They use it for mess. They use it for drama. They fighting. They showing this and that. They doing all this cussing and all this other stuff that don't mean to go. So you have the eyes and the ears of individuals that are watching and listening, when that is a great impact for individuals to be able to use to help change the hearts of people. Because guess what? Some people are not going to never go to a therapist, but they may listen to some YouTubes. They may listen to some Facebook Lives. They may see individuals who they don't even know, and they may say something that they're like, okay, she going down my lane, or that's me. We have to understand that what is going on, and a lot is distractions. Just like I don't do a lot of, I like a lot of different music, but I don't know a lot of different rappers and R&B singers. I know the ones back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know a lot of the different stuff that's going on. And I just don't listen to gospel. I love jazz. I like to listen to certain rap songs. I might not know the words, the beats, but I'm seeing some things that are going on with this young rapper, whoever he is, and Nike and all of that. And you know what? Sometimes we can share things that are not even valid. And before long, you see all these different things and then come out. Then you have Nike talking about it's something totally different. But it's the power of influence that we got to realize, to take our eyes off of stuff that really, we got too many things going on in our local communities that we need to address. We have too many hurt people that are in cycles that are hard for them to break, like the cycle of addiction. Do you know how many individuals fell prey to addictions, even the ones that in their sobriety for years have resorted back because of a cycle not being broken, because of certain triggers? We have to figure out how to pay attention to the things that matter. We got these young girls that may have daddy or mommy issues, that think that giving up their body and continuing to have children will make somebody love them. Because guess what? A lot of times, I don't care how you were raised. I don't care what family you come from. I don't care what particular race that you were in. I don't care how much money that you have. We have to teach these young ladies about the importance of self-worth. Just because you saw your mama and your grandmama go through and all these other things, the understanding that they are beautiful. They don't have to utilize their body and thinking that having a child is going to make them some type of way or help make them to keep them in. We got so many young children being raised in single parent homes. And don't get it twisted. There are a lot of families that have 2-parent homes, but they're still one parent that's raising a child. But that's a whole nother story. We have to break these cycles. We have to get positive male role models, because guess what? Us women, we're only women. We cannot teach a man how to be a man. Contrary to what some of you independent individuals, and I am independent, I used to have it's Father's Day, I'm a mother and the father, all of that, but that is not so. And I had to break that cycle of thinking years ago, that I can only do what I have been born to do, is be a mother. I am a woman. I am not a man. I cannot teach my son the things that are made this, that, that. Now, let me take that back. I can teach him book stuff, but as far as the knowledge and him getting the understanding, some of that stuff I'm not even gonna understand. So I'm glad that he has his father indifferently in his life to help raise him. We got so many of our males falling prey to the streets, falling prey to gangs, falling prey to addictions. Don't even, because we are have our eye off the prize, and we're not breaking these cycles. Some of us stay in our own box and worry about only what we are doing in our own box, and not wanting to help no one else and someone else's child. Listen, I have a lot of people that call me mommy that I haven't had, but it is the thing about impacting it and instilling things into others, because we are supposed to be a community, a nation that is united. We have to break the cycle of division. We can't keep doing the same thing the same way and not realizing change has to come, but it starts with us first. I've never seen so much hate and so much division that is going on like I've seen in the recent months, in the recent years. We have to break the cycle. We have to break the cycle of individual barriers that we may have that's speaking to, you're not going to never be anything. Who said you can do this? You know you're not nobody. Watch, they're going to laugh. All of those things that you may be thinking in your head. Why? Because when you was growing up, that's all you was told. Break that cycle. Break that cycle of thinking that you are not more than enough, because you are. Break that cycle. It's important that you break the cycle, because you may have children or individuals that are looking at you. I don't care how old you are. There are a whole lot of older people that's still dealing with issues that need to be broken. And it takes, I can sit and do this live. You can go listen, go to YouTube. You can listen to all these different people, but it starts with you. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses and running away from change within yourself. It's time that we face who we are and do something about the cycles in our life that we know need to be broken. Bondage can be heavy. Bondage can be disappointing. Bondage can be strong. It can be tough. It can be overwhelming. But guess what? Once you break that cycle, break that change, the freedom that you will have in your life, the freedom that you will have in your mind, the freedom that you will give your children who are watching. Some of you are so angry, you take it out on your children. You're hollering, you're cussing, you're demeaning them. Why? Because that's what was done to you, and you think that is okay. To which is on when it comes to others. I have never cursing out my children or call them certain names, this, that, and the other. I've never done that. Never. Because why? Let me tell you something. Children remember a lot of stuff. I'm talking about they remember a lot of things. Things that you may think that they're too young to remember, they remember. Oftentimes when I go and sit and talk to my children just in general, they remember things when they were 2, 3 years old, that when they I remember, I'm like, oh, are we perfect? No, because guess what? There's not a book that can tell you how to, they can give suggestions, but let me tell you something. There's no book that can tell you how to be a parent. However, you can't always say, well, that's how I was raised. Well, that's how my grandma taught me. Well, that's why this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something. That does not mean they was right. My mother and I, we have good conversations, and we'll talk and listen to my daughter and them and say, well, yeah, that was done, but that was not right. When I listen to my mom and my aunt and my uncles talk about how they was raised and what went on, and I'm like, oh, dog. And then some of the stuff I may remember how my mom did, and I look back. But listen, let me tell you something. Yeah, that may have been done, and she may have done it, But when I got the wisdom and understanding, and I had my own children, why would I continue to keep saying about, well, that's what was up, well, that's how, well, that's this, that, and the other? No, where we all need to grow. We need to stop using a crutch as, well, that's what happened then. Well, that's how my grandma did me and I turned out right. You're right. It's toxic. Yes, I said it. You're right. It's toxic. You're causing a lot of trauma within your child. Some people know you can't use physical punishment for your child. You don't need to. Why? Because you don't know the difference between abuse and giving a consequence, a pop. You using ropes and extension cords and having to go get switches and all that. Yeah, I had to go pick out my own switch and all that. But you know what? My children don't know what no switch is. Not that I used. Now, did they get spankings? Yes, they did. But let me tell you something. I've heard some horror stories to how my aunts and my mom and them were raised. And that's what their generation did. But was it right? No. And I see some of you'll get up and you would defend a lot of the things that just because, well, they turned out right. Yeah. But then in that mind, they sitting back thinking crazy stuff. They sitting talking to themselves and you don't even know. They sitting here having conversations back and forth, sitting here thinking about and having nightmares because how daddy and mama did them. That's toxic. That's called adverse childhood experiences. Because guess what? If you don't deal with it when they're young, it'll be a cycle and it'll be pouring on into children. Yeah, some parents telling their children that they never gonna be nothing, how ugly they are, using their children, selling their bodies to make money. Oh yes, this stuff is real. There are parents that do that. Why? Because it was done to them. So they think it's okay. We gotta break the cycle, and it starts with us. It's never too late to break the cycle. But it starts with you. Stop defending wrong when you know it's wrong. Some of you'll ride a coattail of somebody so they can be your friend, so they accept you in the church, so you can keep your title, so you can still be in the group, and it's wrong. I'm not that type of person, and never have I been. And sometimes that's why, even growing up, and even I stand out. I might be on this side, but I'm not. I'm not going to ride nobody's coattail when I know stuff is wrong. I'm not. I've never been that person, and I'm not scared and I'm bold enough to say, you know what, that's not right. And you can do that, but you're on your own. You know. We have to understand, you have to be able to call things out, but you got to look within first. You got to look within first. So I just wanted to come by here tonight. I went a little bit over my time, and I know I was trying to hit a lot of different things, but breaking the cycle is important. You got to stop doing the same thing, making excuses for it, and not getting the change in your life that you deserve. In order for you to prosper, in order for you to move, because let me tell you, sometimes as people, you can see stuff and you be like, oh, that person is blessed. Oh, that person, this is going on, this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something. Everything ain't what it seems. Okay? Some people are going through some real issues and material stuff, fly stuff. That does not weigh anything when you're losing your mind, when you got the cycle of thinking you're not enough, when you're depressed, when you're anxiety, when you have the suicidal ideations. None of that stuff even matters. Why? Because you got to get you right. You have to get you right. And it's time out for us to know and see things that we know is not right. And we just be like, well, okay, well, honey, I don't want nobody in my corner that's going to be, yeah, girl, you are you, and knowing I'm wrong. It's okay if you don't like when I tell you something. It's okay. I got tough skin to go with the way. I don't care what the mouth that sometimes people get. That's fine. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I've done my part. At the end of the day, you need to do your part. Stop looking at things and it's a cycle. It's toxic, and you can continue to engage in that stuff. You continue to turn a blind eye. You continue to allow them thoughts and different things to dwell in your mind. And you, for some reason, to make it seem like it's okay because you don't want to change. It's not okay. Let grandma, let your pastor, let your uncle, your mama, whoever be mad at you. But guess what? You got to live with how you're feeling and how you're not feeling and the moves you know you need to be making, and you're not, because you're in bondage, not them. That's why the breaking the cycle starts with you. That's why breaking the cycle starts with you identifying things that you know is not right. It's time out, especially for you individuals who got some age on you. It's time out to keep making excuses. It's time out for you keep doing the same old thing. It's time out for utilizing who did it back when 20, 40 years ago. That's okay. That's just like people, in the spiritual thing. When people think, okay, well, if you wear dresses this long, you're going to heaven. If you wear your don't cut your hair, don't wear no jewelry, don't wear your makeup. I'm sorry, some of y'all need some makeup on. Some of you need some. Some of you, them long dresses ain't doing it. They might be, some skirts might be long, but you got a lot of stuff going on up under there, and you got a nasty attitude. Your attitude nasty. Don't nobody want to deal with you. Your mouth filthy, but yet you got them, you ain't got no makeup on, you got no jewelry, and your dresses are long. Come on here now. We have been led to believe some things that have nothing to do with character. And I'm not trying to get too deep spiritually, because Meaningful Monday conversation is not that. But let me tell you something. We better get a grip off of things that we consider to, we adopt because we think that is the plug, or we think that's the golden rule, when it's not. When it's not. Break the cycle. Change can only come if you break the cycle of doing the things that you've always done the same way, because how you was told, or how this, that, and the other. Change happens a lot of times. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable at all. It doesn't feel good, but I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it's relief. And when you look back and be like, dog, that was me. Ooh, I had Lord, how was I dealing with me? See, it's easy to start trying to tell other people how and what you see and this and all that with that spiritual eye and that. But when you start looking at you, because when you get up in the morning, the only person that you see is you. So how are you handling you? How are you bringing about change in your life? Or are you avoiding it because you're fearful? Breaking the cycle in your life opens up a lot of pathways for change in your purpose. I thank you guys for joining me on this evening. I thank you for listening to me. And hopefully this conversation that I'm having regarding breaking the cycle, I hope it has penetrated something in you, or opened up a light bulb, or something came on, so you can understand that change is important for you. Stop not worried about others. It's important for you to change. We all have some area in our lives that we need to change. I don't care if people say that you the best thing gets sliced bread, that you were so all of that flattering, all of that. But you know you know how you are behind closed doors. You know you might be a hot mess. You know you battling some things in your mind, in your heart. You know you battling some things. So it's only you that can get you right, with the help of people, others, the Lord, whomever. But you have to admit, and you have to want to break the cycle. Break every chain in your life, so you will no longer be in bondage. Be in bondage to yourself, be in bondage to people, or be in bondage to this world. Break the cycle. so that you can be free. Thank you for joining me again on this evening. I am Dr. L. Perkins. This is Meaningful Monday Conversations. Again, I thank you. Please share and see me again next week, same time, same place. Have a good night.